Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bookercast, the podcast where books come to life.
And I'm so excited to dive into another amazing story with all of you.
Whether you're a bookworm or just love a good story, this is the place for you.
Every episode, we explore incredible books, talk about their stories and characters, and share insights that'll make you fall in love with reading all over again.
All right, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Get comfortable, and let's jump right into it.
Sounds good.
All right, let's dive into this, shall we? Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I mean, this is one of the giants, right? We've got articles, essays, historical stuff, all about it. Should be a fun deep dive.
It really is so much more than just a love story, a real window into 19th century Russia, but also like philosophical, love, morality, all that. And you know what? It still really gets to people, even now.
That's what I love about Tolstoy. War and Peace, Anna Karenina.
The big ones.
They always get compared to, like, the Iliad, the Odyssey, epic scope of history, intimate journey of the heart, all in one.
Not a coincidence either. Tolstoy himself, he saw War and Peace as about the nation, all about that 1812 war. But Anna Karenina, he was going for family, the whole mess of it.
Okay, so family. But we're also going to hit love, societal expectations, the choices we make, the things that decide our fate. I'm kind of curious how our sources handle all that.
Well, before we get too deep into the book, I think maybe a little background on the man himself might help. Tolstoy lived quite a life, dramatic, full of contradictions. You can see how it all fed into his writing,
Yeah, his bio reads like a novel in itself. Born into, nobility, then fame with War and Peace, but later totally shifts gears. Moral questions, spiritual stuff, even wrote things like I Cannot Be Silent, taking on the church.
Bold move.
And his death, wow. Running from family drama, dies at a train station, daughter and doctor by his side. Talk about intense.
It really is something.
And hey, speaking of family drama, some folks say there are parallels between the fights over Tolstoy's will and, the messed up families in Anna Karenina. Think there's anything to that?
I mean, there are echoes, for sure. You can see his own struggles in his writing. Faith, societal hypocrisy, the weight of tradition. It's all there in the novel. Maybe not a direct one-to-one, but definitely worth thinking about.
Okay, so backdrop of Tolstoy's crazy life. Now let's actually step into the world of Anna Karenina. Can you give us a quick plot summary?
Yeah.
Especially focusing on Anna herself.
Sure. So the novel, it has these two main stories going on.
Okay.
First, you've got Anna, beautiful, intelligent, stuck in a marriage with no love. Then she meets Count Vronsky, the dashing Count Vronsky, and boom, passionate affair that just blows up societal expectations.
It's not just a love story then, it's like full-on rebellion. I can already tell this is not going to end well for her.
You got it. Her choices, they come with consequences, devastating ones. Social isolation, her family turns their back, and in the end, tragedy. Tolstoy really lays it out there. Defying convention has a price, especially for a woman back then.
Heartbreaking. But man, is it ever relevant. Even today, people trying to balance what they want with what society expects. It's like Tolstoy tapped into something timeless about us.
Absolutely. And then alongside Anna, there's Levin, a landowner, totally different questions he's dealing with, searching for meaning, questioning faith, family, his place in the world, the big stuff.
So the opposite of Anna in a way, right?
In a way, yeah.
She's going for passionate love. He's looking for something more down to earth, more traditional, spiritual maybe.
Exactly. Levin's journey, it's a counterpoint to Anna's. There are different ways to find happiness, different ways to deal with those big questions. But it's not a walk in the park for him either. He has his doubts, his disappointments, moments where he's just lost.
It's wild how Tolstoy weaves those two storylines together, makes this tapestry of human experience, right?
Yeah.
I'm hooked already.
And we've barely scratched the surface. We haven't even touched the other characters, like Dolly, Anna's sister, the picture of a conventional marriage, and Vronsky himself. He's more than just the charming lover, believe me.
Okay, what about Tolstoy's writing style? I've heard he's amazing at painting these realistic pictures of his characters and their world. Super detailed.
Oh, he's masterful. A ballroom scene. He'll have you feeling like you're right there. Or a character's inner thoughts. He nails it in a single sentence.
Sounds like we're in for a treat. Can't wait to get into those details, see what we uncover.
I think you'll be surprised. This is the kind of book that sticks with you. Makes you think about your own life, your own choices, the things that make us who we are. It's like you really get to know them, You're not just watching from afar. Tolstoy pulls you right into their heads, their struggles, their happy moments, the despair. It's all there.
He's holding up a mirror, right,
Yeah.
to all of us.
Totally.
Like, yeah, we're in different situations and all, but underneath it all, we want the same things: love, meaning, connection.
Exactly. And the thing is, those wants, they often clash with what society wants from you. That
Yeah.
hypocrisy really comes through in these sources, especially with love and marriage.
Totally. Anna's affair, it's a huge scandal, obviously. But Tolstoy, he's also showing us these other marriages, right?
Yeah.
Respectable on the surface, but miserable underneath.
Right, like Dolly and Stefan Arkadyevich.
Ooh, yeah.
He's always cheating, she's always hurt, but she's supposed to just, like, ignore it, keep up appearances.
So different from Anna. She goes for what her heart wants, but she pays the price, big time.
Yeah, and Tolstoy, he doesn't say she's right, but he doesn't condemn her either.
It's interesting, right?
She's complex, sympathetic, trapped by society, but also driven by this deep need for real love, real happiness.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are those rules even fair? Or are they just there to keep things the way they are?
Yep.
Benefit some, hurt others.
Exactly. That's why this book still matters today. Individual freedom versus what society says, women's place in the world, what love even means. It's all still playing out.
Okay, I gotta ask about that horse race scene, the one where Vronsky falls, and you can just see Anna's feelings from, it's like the moment everything changes.
Right, man, that scene, it's so good. The tension builds, the race, then suddenly Anna just loses it. Total turning point for her, for everyone.
Like her secret's out, and there's no going back.
And then, of course, you have the suicide under the train, just devastating and so symbolic, you know? The train, it's like progress, unstoppable, and she's crushed by it, by the world.
It's like that feeling of being alone.
Yeah.
All through the book. Misunderstood. Like she just can't make what she wants fit with what society demands.
Heavy stuff makes you ask, what happens when you defy the rules? Fate, free will, finding meaning when everything feels chaotic.
And then there's Levin, total opposite. Finds intensity in quiet rural life, working the fields, being in nature, thinking about faith. Those scenes are beautiful.
Tolstoy was amazing at showing both sides, you know,
Yeah.
the grand society life, but also the simple beauty of nature. With Levin, he's saying meaning, purpose, it can be found in unexpected places, in everyday life.
It's its own kind of rebellion, right? Rejecting the fancy, fake stuff for something real, down to earth.
Yeah, and his path, it's not easy either. He struggles, he gets disillusioned, but he does find peace, a purpose that Anna never could. It's like another option, another way to live, find happiness.
It's just wild how he makes all these characters, right? So complex, so real, each with their own flaws, their own wants, and they feel like real people.
And the way he weaves their stories together, the parallels, the contrasts, brilliant. That's what makes Anna Karenina so good, so timeless.
You said before that Tolstoy's writing, it's like super vivid. Are there any specific parts that really stand out to you, where you really see his skill?
Oh, so many. But that scene when Levin proposes to Kitty.
Oh, yeah.
It's so sweet, awkward, real. You can feel everything, the nerves, the excitement, the uncertainty. It's like you're right there with them.
The fumbled words, the looks,
Nah.
all those unspoken feelings.
Yes, that's what Tolstoy does. He doesn't just tell you, he makes you feel it. Experience it right along with the characters. That's what makes it so powerful, so unforgettable.
It's crazy how this book, written over a century ago, still has this impact on people today. Why do you think that is?
Because he gets to the heart of it, you know, what it means to be human, the relationships, the struggles, the choices, and what comes after.
It's powerful stuff. He really makes you think about your own life, you know, what matters, what choices you make.
And don't forget faith. That plays a big role, too. Levin, his whole spiritual journey, doubt, uncertainty, then finally finding comfort in religion.
Right, like he's searching for something too, but in a different way than Anna. Like Tolstoy's saying, there are different paths, you know, different ways to find peace, to deal with those big life and death questions.
And neither one is easy. Levin has his dark times, too, disappointment. But he does find a kind of peace in the end, something Anna never gets.
I was struck by how Tolstoy shows Levin's like spiritual awakenings. They often happen out in nature, right? Working the fields, just being present in the world.
Tolstoy was a nature guy himself, you know. He saw it as this source of, like, wisdom, comfort, connecting with something bigger.
It's not just nature, though, right? It's the work, too. Working the land, being part of that whole cycle of life and death. That's what grounds Levin, gives him purpose.
It's a powerful message, especially now when we're also disconnected from, like, the natural world.
And speaking of disconnection, one thing that stood out to me in these sources is social class. Tolstoy lays it bare, the whole rigid system of 19th century Russia, how it controlled people's lives.
Absolutely. Anna's affair, it's not just about cheating. It's about breaking class lines. And Levin, even though he owns land, he still feels out of place in those fancy Moscow and Petersburg circles.
It's like those invisible barriers, right? Class creating misunderstandings, prejudice,
Yeah.
even leading to tragedy.
And yet he shows us those barriers can be broken down too. Real connection, empathy. Like Levin and Stepan Arkadyevich, total opposite worlds, but they find common ground in being human.
It's hopeful in a way, right?
Yeah.
Like, no matter our differences, background beliefs, we all share those basic human experiences. We're all connected.
Exactly. That's why this book is still so relevant. Universal themes that speak to everyone.
So wrapping up, I'm curious, what are your final thoughts on why Anna Karenina still has this hold on people? Over a century later, it's still so powerful.
I think it's because Tolstoy gets us, plain and simple. The messiness of relationships, the stuff we all struggle with, the choices and the consequences. He lays it all out there.
And he does it so well, honestly, deeply. A master storyteller. You can't help but get sucked into that world.
And it's a world that, yeah, reflects our own lives. But it also makes you think, dig a little deeper.
I'm definitely feeling ready to reread Anna Karenina after all this, with fresh eyes.
You should. Every time you read it, you see something new. It's amazing.
And to our listener, here's a question to think about. What if Anna lived today? Would things be different? More freedom, more choices? Or would she face the same pressures? It's something to consider as you explore this book.
This deep dive, it's just the start, you know? There's so much more to uncover. Keep exploring, keep thinking, and most importantly, keep the conversation going. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Bookercast. We hope you enjoyed diving into it as much as we did. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Your support means the world, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts on this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this episode with your fellow book lovers. And let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. See you in the next deep dive. Bye for now, and happy reading.